Hello everyone. Today we will start a new topic that is from anatomy of head, neck, face, and the name of topic is anatomy of scalp. And this anatomy of scalp we are going to study under the following heads, that is extent, layers, blood supply, lymphatic drainage, and blood supply, venous drainage, and nerve supply. Okay, we will divide this scalp into part 1 and part 2. In part 1 we are going to cover extent and layers of scalp, and in second video we will discuss about the remaining part, that is blood supply, venous drainage, and nerve supply. Okay, so let us start. So first of all we will discuss about the extent of scalp, and the scalp extends and scalp extend. So anteriorly scalp extends up to the eyebrows, anteriorly up to the eyebrows. Posteriorly the scalp extends up to superior nuchal line, and laterally the scalp extends up to superficial temporal lines. So anteriorly extend up to eyebrows, posteriorly superior nuchal line, and laterally superficial temporal line. This is about the extent of scalp. Now after extent we will discuss about the layers, and along with that applied anatomy of each layer. So first layer is now we will discuss about the layers of scalp. So layers of scalp you can remember by a mnemonic, that is scalp itself. So S is skin, connective tissue, A is aponeurosis, L is loose areolar tissue, and P is pericranium. So first is skin, that is S, then C connective tissue, then A is aponeurosis, this is L loose areolar tissue, and this is last is pericranium. Okay, now first of all we will talk about the skin. This skin is the skin of the scalp. Okay, the skin of the scalp, this is skin, and the skin of the scalp is thick and hairy. The skin is thick and hairy, and it contains hair follicles, thick and hairy except forehead, thick and hairy except forehead, and the skin has hair follicles and sebaceous gland. The skin has hair follicles and sebaceous gland, and as skin has hair follicles and sebaceous gland, the skin is the most commonest site of sebaceous cyst. So commonest site of sebaceous cyst, skin is the commonest site of sebaceous cyst. Okay, so skin of the scalp is thick and hairy except for forehead, because on forehead we don't have hairs. Okay, these are the hairs. Second, hair follicle and sebaceous gland, and due to presence of hair follicles and sebaceous gland, it is the most commonest site for the sebaceous cyst. So this is hair. Now the second layer is connective tissue. Second layer is connective tissue, and this connective tissue is dense fibrous type. Connective tissue is dense fibrous type, and in this connective tissue we have nerves and vessels. I don't have markers, so I will label this. It contains nerves and vessels. This is vein, this is artery, and this is suppose nerve. So it contains this connective tissue layer. It contains nerves and vessels, and these blood vessels, they are adherent to fibrous tissue. These blood vessels, they adhere to the fibrous tissue, and as these blood vessels, they are adherent to the fibrous tissue, whenever the blood vessel torn, okay, they do not retract and causes profuse bleeding, and this bleeding can be prevented by pressing that underlying bone. Okay, so what I have told, that this connective tissue is of dense fibrous type, and second, it contains blood vessels and nerves, and these blood vessels, they are attached to that fibrous tissue, and due to that, whenever the blood vessel torn, they do not undergo retraction and causes profuse bleeding, and this bleeding can be prevented by pressing the underlying bone. This is about the connective tissue layer. So we have studied in skin, applied is sebaceous cyst. In connective tissue, applied is bleeding of vessels. Okay, then next layer we will study in the scalp, that is aponeurosis, and this aponeurosis is formed by occipitofrontalis muscle. This aponeurosis is formed by occipitofrontalis muscle, and this occipitofrontalis aponeurosis is formed by occipitofrontalis muscle. Okay, it is also known as epicranial aponeurosis or galea aponeurotica. It is also called epicranial aponeurosis or galea aponeurotica. Now this aponeurosis is formed by occipitofrontalis muscle, and this occipitofrontalis muscle has two bellies, totally four bellies, two occipital bellies and two frontal bellies. Now what this occipitofrontalis muscle will do, it will pull the aponeurosis in antero-posterior direction. Pull the aponeurosis in antero-posterior direction. How? This suppose this is the aponeurosis. This occipital bellies pull the aponeurosis in anterior direction, and frontal bellies pull the aponeurosis in posterior direction. Therefore, it will remain stretched. Therefore, there is no gap. Therefore, there is no gap in the aponeurosis, unless cut transversely. So therefore, when we cut aponeurosis transversely, then and then only it will gap, otherwise it will not. Okay, this is about the aponeurosis, that is third layer. Now we will talk about the fourth layer, that is loose areolar tissue. And in loose areolar tissue, this loose areolar tissue, it is traversed by emissary veins. Loose areolar tissue is traversed by emissary vein, and this, it connects the vein in the second part, that is connective tissue. It connects the vein to the second part, and this connection goes to epicranial dural sinuses. This connection goes to epicranial dural venous sinuses. epicranial dural venous sinuses. So this loose areolar tissue layer, it is traversed by emissary veins, and this emissary vein connects the vein in the second layer, that is connective tissue layer, to the epicranial dural venous sinuses. Epicranial dural venous sinuses. Okay, this is about the fourth layer, that is loose areolar tissue. Loose areolar tissue. Now we will talk about the next layer, and next layer is last layer, and last layer is, the name of last layer is pericranium. Pericranium is the periosseum of the cranial bone. Pericranium, it forms the pericranium, it is the periosseum of skull bone. This is bones of cranial vault. These are bones of cranial vault, and before this there is a pericranium. So this pericranium, it forms the periosseum for the skull bones. It forms the periosseum for the skull bones. So this is about the extent and layers of scalp. Which are the layers of scalp? Skin, then connective tissue, aponeurosis, loose areolar tissue, and pericranium. Skin is thick and hairy except for the forehead, and as it has hair and sebaceous gland, it is the most commonest site for the sebaceous cyst. Connective tissue, it is dense fibrous type, and it contains nerves and vessels, and these blood vessels, they are attached to the fibrous tissue, and as they are attached to the fibrous tissue, when they get torn, they do not cause retraction and causes profuse bleeding, and this bleeding can be stopped by pressing the underlying vessel. Third is aponeurosis, is formed by occipitofrontalis muscle, also called epicranial aponeurosis or gale aponeurotica. Loose areolar tissue, it is traversed by emissary vein. That loose areolar tissue traversed by emissary vein, which connects the vein in the second part, and that connects to the epicranial dural venous sinuses. Pericranium, it is the periosseum of skull bone. This is all about the extent and layer, and the remaining part we will discuss in the next video. Thank you so much. Keep watching.